Hello and welcome to today's video. I wanted to talk a little bit about this Mercury retrograde and what the energy has been feeling like for me. I wanted to kind of put this out there just to see if anyone else is relating. And based on what I've already seen online, it looks like there's definitely many that are relating because there's other people making videos about this right now. So Mercury retrograde right now it's in the sign of Taurus, right? And it's been bringing up a lot of retro stuff, like retrograde stuff, but it's a lot of, for some reason, it's a strange one. Like, I feel like this Mercury retrograde is really um, challenging me in a way. And it's challenging me because I'm having this inclination to go back to the way that I used to be. And it's so bizarre because there was other people, like I said, who have made videos about having this like plateau type of thing after awakening. So after going through this like big internal transformation and like this huge awakening and this realization and seeing things from a whole different perspective, seeing your life and other people's lives and seeing the world and everything from this new perspective, right? That's really what awakening is. And then how we kind of contract after that happens and how we have a tendency to go back to our old ways or go back to certain patterns, certain habits, certain things that we've been doing. And it's something I've definitely noticed. It's something that this particular Mercury retrograde, for some reason, really sort of brought to the surface for me. And I'm really recognizing how there are several things that I have been feeling since this Mercury retrograde that are really pulling me back to my past. And not back to my past in terms of back into the pain or back into any of that, because ironically, I feel that is all like totally processed. So there really isn't any lingering pain or any lingering issues like that. It's just more of sort of like my habitual ways of being, how I have been operating over the pandemic, over the last 2.5 years. That's really what I feel like I'm being sort of sucked back into right now. And it's like a fight, man. Like I feel like I definitely have a fight against like darkness, I guess, or against I mean, really, it's just darkness. I know it is, and that's what I feel it to be. It's just kind of like, come on, are you sure you don't want to come back and play? And it's really, and it's like, do you remember? Like it was fun here. It's literally almost like this quiet, unspoken whisper. It's like just this energy that you might feel, and it's like a tug. It's like this gentle, but kind of like it's there, like a noticeable tug. And I don't know if you guys are noticing this or not, but I am definitely going through this process right now where I just feel a little bit of this tug. And it only came up since like Mercury retrograde. So I know for sure this is something that I'm needing to have like huge awareness around. And Spirit really wants me to acknowledge, because it's about acknowledging. And remember, Mercury retrogrades are always about going back over things. So I feel like there's this sense of acknowledging where I have been and the things that I have done, recognizing and acknowledging power and control, and how much power or control I have potentially given away to bad habits or to past patterns or to just old habitual ways of being. And how much of that power am I exercising and using now? How much of that am I pulling up from within myself and really using it in a very purposeful way, rather than allowing the power of my past, or giving my power to the past, or giving my power to the way that I used to be, and allowing that to suck me in. So do a little self check-in right now during this Mercury retrograde, because I think a lot of us are feeling this at this time, where you have gone through an awakening process. You have definitely gone through some serious dark night of the soul periods, but now you're arriving at this place where you're just kind of like almost feeling a little bit like in limbo. It's like, yes, and I feel the accomplishment of everything that I've gone through. I feel the transformation. I feel all of this like newness within myself and this new energy. I feel the spring energy that's here. And yet I have this like tug back to the old, back to the way that I used to be. So if you have that going on, I would recommend just really, really noticing your power. the more I tune into my own power, the more I get assertive with that power within myself, and the more that I am able to push that energy out, the energy that I feel is just like slowly but surely tugging me or trying to pull me back in, the more I feel that power and the more that I'm using it to the best of my ability, the more I'm able to actually step out of this, what we call a cycle, or what we call like a devil circle is how we say it in my language. So it's like where you just go around and around and you keep repeating and you're stuck in a loop. And now I'm recognizing that I can just pull myself out of that loop. I can completely step off of that track if I choose. I just have to be extremely discerning. And this Mercury retrograde is really asking me to step up my personal power. It's asking all of us actually to really step up our personal power, to really take that step, that first step or fifth step, whatever step you're at, onto this new path, onto this new journey that is unfolding right before us, right? Because and it's also about like being mindful that, you know what, the darkness is always going to try to pull you back in, and we have to be the ones that become strong enough and become overcoming enough of that energy that it just doesn't have a hold on us, or it doesn't have the capability to pull us back in, and that's easier said than done sometimes. It really is, because I know a lot of people struggle with that. I know I struggled all last week with that. It was insane how much it sucked me in. And it was also really weird of how comfortable I kind of felt there, back into the old patterns, back into certain old ways of being, and how it was weird. Like as soon as Mercury retrograde started in the first couple of days, I wasn't feeling it yet. And then as we progressed by the third day, I felt like it was really sucking me in. Like it was just pulling at me big time. And like I said, there was like a certain level of comfort that I was feeling being back into that old version of myself, while simultaneously having this full on conscious awareness of like, this is not where I am. And this is like, I've way outgrown this. I actually felt comfortable, but also uncomfortable in the energy. Like I could feel the staggering difference of like where I actually am now versus where I used to be, and the difference in that energy, and how when I went back into the old energy of how, yes, it felt familiar, but also foreign at the same time. It's a little bit hard to explain, like, because you are awakened, you are different, you are new in a sense. And because we are in this brand new cycle right now at this time, with the eclipses that just initiated this new cycle and this new start, this new chapter, like we're literally on the first couple pages of this new chapter, right? So it's going to sometimes start off a little bit rocky and sometimes start off a little bit challenging. And then it's going to be up to us, right? The hero of the journey is always the one that has to do the hard work, right? So if you are your own hero's journey, or the hero in your own journey, which we all are for ourselves, then you're going to see that you actually can overcome these things, all of the challenges, all of the past conditioning, programming, your old ways of being. They're all just exactly that, old ways of being, and they're not your actual identity. They are not who you are at a soul level and at a core level. And I have to keep reminding myself of that when the old tries to suck me back in. Then I just had to like kind of pull that power and like remind myself like, hey, this isn't who I am anymore, and this isn't the stuff we do anymore, and this isn't how I behave anymore, and this isn't how I exist anymore, because I've grown past this. So why would I want to go back into a lesson I've already learned? Why would I want to go put myself through that difficulty all over again when it's not necessary? I know what the lesson is. I know how much better it feels to be this new version of myself, and how much better it feels for me to embody, a higher version of myself. But yet the old, when it comes knocking, it can really be like, hey, remember me, old friend? And it's like, oh yeah, no, I don't want to remember you, so just don't open the door. And I made the mistake of opening the door last week, to that old familiar self. And then I recognized how it's like, oh, we're actually not that good of friends as I thought we were. We actually don't have that much in common as I thought we did. So It's okay. Go through this process, recognize who you are now, really check in with yourself about who you are now, and just acknowledge that you are not the old self during this Mercury retrograde, and keep reminding yourself that, like, you got this, you're going to get through, and that the whole reason why you went through the dark night of the soul and went through this process of awakening was to put yourself on a completely higher plateau. So why would you want to step down from there? We get a much better vantage point from a higher perspective than we do from a lower perspective. So just keep that in mind as you put along through Mercury retrograde, and as it will pull on some different parts of your life or different areas of you internally that are going to want to suck you back in. Be mindful of that. Don't allow it to happen. If it does happen, just remind yourself, like, no, I'm bigger and I'm better than this, and I've already reached a higher plateau. I'm not stepping back down. So I wanted to share that message because, like I said, I saw other people online as well mentioning the same thing of how we have this tendency to go back into sort of our old ways of being after an awakening, and why that happens. And really why that happens is, like I said, during this Mercury retrograde, is because it's something that you need to have awareness of, that you still need to build more power around your new identity, and you need to solidify and ground that new energy within yourself, because until it becomes grounded and solid, you're actually going to be a lot easier to sway or to persuade to go back to the old way. So I'm just finding myself really needing to go for walks, connecting with nature, grounding my energy, tuning in, of course, meditation, all of that good stuff is going to help ground you. It's going to help anchor this energy back into yourself. And it's going to also allow you to really feel solid and strong within yourself, because I did feel like weakness, like mental or energetic or spiritual weakness of some kind last week with the Mercury retrograde really kicking in. So, and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming Scorpio full moon that we're going to have. Remember, Scorpio always likes to trim away things that just don't work in our lives. And so this is a good opportunity for one final push kind of thing to really release something for this year that you definitely don't want to carry on into next year, and even energy that you just don't want to carry into the second half of this year. Because, I mean, my God, have you guys noticed how quickly time flies, and how within a blink of an eye, I feel like we're already halfway through 2023. It's like, when the fuck did this happen? Like, how did this even go by so quickly? Like, the years really do go fast, and it's incredible how, if you keep perpetuating the same thing, you keep doing the same thing, keep eating the same thing, then you're just not going to be able to move forward. You're really not going to be able to stay up on that plateau that you have spiritually or energetically have already reached, in a sense. And now you just have to physically anchor that energy in by doing those right actions that are going to really support you, that are going to actually keep you at that plateau and prevent you from buckling at the knees and falling from it. So stay grounded, keep your guys like energy high, and keep yourselves, happy. I'm really, really finding the joy in every day, and just regardless, even if like my ego tries to drag me back, I still am looking for things to be joyful for. I'm watching a ton of comedy and just different things that are keeping me vibrationally at a high rate. I'm also just staying very hopeful, very excited for the future, for the next 6 months, and for the things that I've been working on that I'm going to be completing and wrapping up during this Mercury retrograde. So lots and lots of things to be excited for. Don't get stuck in the past and in the old ways. Just keep moving forward. I know sometimes that can be hard, but you got this, just like I got this. And we just have to push ourselves a little bit more than usual, perhaps, during this Mercury retrograde. But that being said, I wish you guys an awesome rest of Mercury retrograde, and I will be tuning back in with some other stuff to talk about for the rest of this week. Thanks so much for watching. Hit a like and a subscribe on your way out, and I will see you next time. Thanks.